Fred Bell's book is in 4 parts. The first part basically is in short the uncovering of 40, 50, 60 years by now of the UFO and extraterrestrial cover-up. He goes into the details of Haig, Kissinger, depopulation policy, the JFK aspect of the deep state, and huge secrets that he already exposed 20 years ago. The second part is very long, about 100 pages, is typically medical and really future medicine. Again, this is all from a contactee that worked with the Pleiadians. The third part, I would say, is spiritual technology. He talks about the soul, energy, light, Vedic science, and he goes then from there into his work with the extraterrestrials, the Pleiadians in his case. He says, by the way, the Pleiadians, they came probably about 28,000 years ago via a group of Tibetan teachers. That's how he poses it, and they are from different star systems, 200 and more of them. And in the last part he then explains the future is now, the Pleiadian technology and the Pleiadian propulsion systems, anti-gravity, space and time travel transposition. And in this book he also speaks a lot about the American history, for those of you who are interested in how the Constitution actually was done, what really all happened. This book is packed with like thousands of pieces of data. The most interesting part that we're interested in right now has to do with the reality of the aliens and how this was very cleverly covered up. For instance, a detail you don't know is that the NSA under Truman was formed with the specific purpose to listen to alien conversation, as well as, of course, human conversation. So again, the book is from 1998 is the first copyright. It's essentially 20 years old. And when we speak about Pleiadians, we need to also remember there was somebody who was from Venus. They called him Val. And he went to work with Eisenhower, and he made proposals in secret government councils of new technologies they could have used, but instead they then made treaties which Eisenhower signed with the Greys. But we have to know there are groups of men, very well-known people who came, and we think they are Venusian people. That's Dr. Bell himself, Tesla and Reich. Those would be typically, we would think, people from Venus type, Pleiadian type, you could say. You can see the extraterrestrial signatures really by their teachings, by the people that talk about them, and by the validity of the technology. And these technologies that he describes in here, they are of course being applied, because the Pleiadians are working also with government factions. Like I explained, many extraterrestrial groups and factions work at all levels worldwide with different people, from childhood contactees in school to science to medicine, and of course to the military-industrial intelligence complex. So here, right in the beginning, on page 17 of his book, Dr. Fred Bell discovers he discusses the covering up of the presence of aliens. And it is here where he mentions that the order by President Truman then created the super secret National Security Agency by an executive order, and the primary purpose was to decipher the alien communications and language, such as the unusual markings they had found in and on the downed spaceships. A huge task force was put together, an urgent task force. It was called Sigma. This was in 1952, executive order by Truman. Here he describes how Vannevar Bush discovered in 1949 the alive alien that came out of that spacecraft in the Roswell crash. So they did find alive grey aliens there. Context with the navigators, who are astrologers, astronomers and navigators, you understand these species, these extraterrestrials, they use very advanced types who actually come onto the ship and navigate the ship with their minds. They don't need technologies or computers or stuff. They go via mind. They know when, what, where, and they go onto the ship and move the ship to the next sector, and then I guess they do another job and come back and do these trading routes. But basically not everybody can just fly crafts, and in the human tin cans that we're going off the planet, we're not going to do much. And so that's what we're talking about, a real advanced technology, and which is on this planet now, and that is 1,000 years ahead of us and is available to us, but suppressed at the moment. You've read the books by Frank Herbert, Dune, the Dune series, and you know of the planet Arrakis and the planet Dune and the Navigators. They had navigator masters who needed astrology as a technology. So astrology is actually a technology, it's not something we worship. And in the book by Fred Bell, for instance, you'll find that the Andromedans use astrology. They used in 91 a particular astrological alignment to actually enter into the Earth and actually go into the core of the planet. So they use alignments to travel the galaxies. It's, in other words, a navigation technology, a cosmic navigation technology, because you need certain alignments of certain planets to create a certain kinetic flight path. So it's like a navigation network for traveling from planet to planet or from star system to star system. And it's an advanced technology where only in certain alignments can you crisscross and access certain sectors. And only under these certain moments can you actually begin certain treks, otherwise you never make it. And there are very few who know that. And among the extraterrestrials, they have these navigators, and again, they use astrology as a technology. And you have to imagine that the Earth planet is really a stopover to crisscross from one sector into another system. Or it's a connecting node between the sectors and the transit lines to the different sectors. And that's what the ET, all the extraterrestrials really use the Earth for, as a transit zone for trading routes. Their main activity is trading.